Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. My name is Caitlin. If you've never seen videos like mine before, I am documenting my experience throughout dental hygiene school. In today's video, I'm going to be going planner style over how my week 6 and week 7 of dental hygiene school has gone. The last several videos I did it vlog style, but the first 2 weeks, I'll link that right here if you want to start from the beginning, I did in this way as well. I have a few things to say and then we'll go ahead and get into the video. I am doing this planner style because I vlogged week 6 but not week 7 because I got very overwhelmed with the amount of things that I had on my plate, the amount of things that I had to do for school, and whenever I recorded that, sitting down to edit just made me feel like I was going to go crazy, and I couldn't do it. So I think I'm going to be doing planner style for a little while. This is a lot easier for me to edit kind of concise into one place and things like that. So this is probably what you're going to be seeing just because it's a lot easier for me for right now. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into the video now. All right guys, so it is now Friday today and I just got done with week 7 of hygiene school. I can't even believe it at all. It has been crazy. It has been extremely stressful. I feel like by the end of this semester I'm gonna feel a lot better, like I accomplished something, like time is actually, you know, passing. If you follow me on Instagram, you know that I told you guys I was going to take a step back from YouTube. However, I do not want to get so far behind and regret not documenting these types of things. I didn't want to abandon you guys. So this was my happy medium, is doing a planner style summing up these last 2 weeks, and I'll probably do that for the next 2 weeks. So you won't be seeing videos from me as often, but honestly, just for my sanity and not feeling overwhelmed, that is just what I have to do. Let's go ahead and get started. I am going to start with Monday, September the 24th. That is the beginning of week 6 for me. We had pre-clinic in the morning from 8 a.m. to 12, but from 8 to 9 we had our first ever test in pre-clinic, and I believe I got an 83 on that test. Now this was the week where I was coming off from being overwhelmed. That weekend before that I did not study at all because I'm a very all or nothing person. I'm either 100% studying 24/7 or I'm not studying at all and I'm just mentally checked out. And I sat down multiple times to study for that test and I just couldn't do it. So I didn't. I'm just going to be 100% real with you guys. I don't want to be dishonest on this channel whatsoever. I'm not a perfect person, and I know a lot of you guys think that I'm super organized and I get really good grades and everything like that, and oh my gosh, how did you lose weight and all this stuff, but I'm also a normal person at the very same time, and yeah, I didn't study at all for that test, and I got an 83, which I was not unhappy about, obviously. For not studying, I just wanted to get a 75 or better because we basically need to have a 75 in that class. After that test, we had curette lecture, and that was pretty boring, I'm not gonna lie. And then we had lunch, and then that afternoon we went over a PowerPoint and anatomy from 1 o'clock until 4 o'clock, where we talked about all of the tissues. Now I've had some people message me talking about oh, are you taking histology and embryology and things like that, and anatomy, head and neck anatomy, all of these different classes, but I'm pretty sure that our histology and embryology and anatomy and all of that is all in this one dental anatomy class because we're learning all of the things that people are telling me. So some, I guess, schools break it up into different classes, but everything for that is just in my dental anatomy class. So that's head and neck anatomy, tooth morphology, embryology, histology, things like that. So we went through that. That was it was kind of like a review from A&P, honestly, to me. It wasn't that difficult. We were just kind of going over tissues and things like that. So that was it for that day. The next day we had to wear scrubs because we were having Explorer practice in the clinic from 8 until 12. This is what my very next skill evaluation is going to be on. It's going to be exploring all surfaces of a tooth. They're going to tell me specifically what tooth to explore, and I'm going to have to do all surfaces in the right positions with the right activation motion, with the right patient position and everything like that. So that is what we have been practicing a lot in pre-clinic. So that is what we practiced that day. I've been doing very well in pre-clinic, I think. I sometimes have little mishaps and things like that happen sometimes, so that's just me being dumb and it's not an underlying serious issue. So I feel like I'm doing really well in that class. Then we had lunch, and then we were in the clinic from 1 until 5 for our Dexter lab. Now this Dexter lab was with partners, and I got partnered up with somebody. We had to go over to this fake mouth and we took a FMS on them. If you don't know what that is, that's a full mouth series of x-rays where you take like posterior PAs, bite wings, and then anterior PAs. So we did that together. We did a pretty good job. Then after that, we had to like look patients up in the system, and they had mixed up their FMS and we had to put it all back in order and stuff. So it was like a mounting exercise. So that was kind of cool. That's what we did for 4 hours in the afternoon. Then that Wednesday, we had our first test in radiology. Now, again, this was the weekend where I did not feel good. I was just like mentally not in a good place. So I did not study for this test and I got an 87. But I really like radiology. I really enjoyed radiology. I've always been like a physics, geometry, conceptual type of person instead of like anatomy where it's just like memorization. I don't like that. I like understanding concepts. That's why I feel like I really honestly enjoy radiology and I'm good at radiology. I like learning how the things inside of the tube head works and things like that. So I did pretty good on that. Then that afternoon, this was a pretty easy day because after that test, we went to our bloodborne pathogens training, which is basically where this lady comes in and just talks about like infection control pretty much, which we've already learned everything about that. It was kind of just like a review. And then we had our SADA lunch with our seniors. SADA is Student American Dental Hygienists Association, and it's basically where we all just get together, like eat lunch and play games. I don't really understand the point of it, but that's what we did. And then we had conferences from 1 to 4. We have 2 conferences per semester, one with each of our teachers. I met with one of my teachers for about, honestly, like 10 minutes. Some people were in there for like 30 minutes, but you basically just discuss like how you're progressing and how you're doing. The teacher said that she didn't have any concerns with me at all and just wanted to make sure that I'm like, you know, doing well. And I was like, yeah. Then we did not have class the next day. And then on that Friday, we had Explorer practice again in the clinic on each other, getting ready for our skill evaluation, which is next week from right now. Then we'll move on to week 7, which is this week that I just completed. I can't believe I'm done with 7 weeks. I calculated it and I'm 48% of the way done with this semester. I can't even believe that, honestly. So Monday we were in radiology from 10 to 12 and we just had a lecture on, it was more, so like before we were learning what's actually happening inside the x-ray tube, now we're learning what happens whenever the x-rays interact with human tissue. That's pretty cool to learn. It's a lot more in depth, I feel like, than it was just like the tube, like learning what's going on inside the actual x-ray machine, because now you're throwing a whole nother component in there. It was pretty cool. We have homework for that where we have to do a bunch of questions in the back of the book and things like that. We usually have to do that for radiology, which I'm fine with because it's not that difficult for me. Then that afternoon we had Explorer practice in the pre-clinic again, and we were also told that our skill eval was moved. So like that this Friday, today, was when my skill evaluation was supposed to be, but they moved it until next Wednesday. I'm not really sure why, but I'm glad that they did because I was able to practice today and get more practice in. So that's really all that we did. We just had radiology from 10 to 12, and then in the afternoon we had pre-clinic from 1 to 5. Then on Tuesday we had our second test for patient care from 8 to 9. I did not study for this test either. I don't want you guys to judge me, but it's just like where I'm at mentally right now. But I didn't study for the test, and I think I got an 87 on that test as well. And then we had pre-clinic in the lab from 9 to 12, and so we had that test from 8 to 9, and then we went in the lab. We weren't in the clinic that time, and we practiced curette. This is the first time that we practiced actually doing curette and like applying pressure and applying lateral pressure and things like that. And that was a little bit more difficult for me than exploring was, just because I'm working on applying pressure without getting tense in my hands. So like whenever I'm exploring, I'm fine with my thumb, you know what I mean? But then whenever I'm adding pressure, I get in the habit of doing that. I don't do it all the time, but I get in the habit of having my thumb like flexed instead of, you know, relaxed. So that's something that I got to work on. Then that afternoon we had anatomy for 4 hours. From 1 to 5 we had anatomy lecture, and that was going more in depth with like tissues and stuff like that, and just kind of like the embryology of everything and cranial nerves and all that kind of stuff. To be honest, I was kind of mentally checked out. I didn't feel good these last like 2 weeks, so your girl doesn't even really know. I have a test on it in 2 weeks. I gotta study, I gotta get it together. The next day, Wednesday, we had radiology in the clinic from 8 to 12. This is where we took our FMSs. So we have 8 times to take FMSs on our Dexters by ourselves 100%. We have a slotted amount of time. Mine was from 9 to 10. So I got to school, but my time wasn't until 9 to 10 in the clinic. So I just hung out until 9 o'clock, and then I went into the clinic at 9 o'clock, and I had to take a full mouth series on the Dexter, and I had to save it in the computer as Dexter 1. I did mess up a couple of times. I cone cut one of the x-rays just because I flipped the ring when I shouldn't have, and I did a couple of things like that. It was just stupid. So, but we get 8 tries. So we go back whenever we have clinic. We get to do 8 total FMSs on the Dexter, and we only get graded on our top 2. So that's really cool because this last one that I did wasn't that great. So I'm glad that I get 7 more tries for that. So that's what we did that morning. I did my FMS from 9 to 10, and then I was able to just chill until lunch and then go to lunch. I really enjoyed that because it was more of like a, okay, we're just hanging out type thing. And then we had curette practice again from 1 to 4 in the lab. I did a little better that time, still getting used to adding pressure and not just tensing my hands up, but I feel like overall I'm doing well for just learning how to do all of this. Then Thursday, yesterday, we did not have class, and today we had pre-clinic. We were supposed to have our skill eval today, but we did not. So we just had practice for our skill eval. We did all surfaces pretty much. We did all surfaces of anteriors and all surfaces of posteriors, and we did caries detection as well on the occlusal surfaces of the posteriors. And so that is what we did today. It felt really good to be able to practice because my skill eval is going to be this coming Wednesday at 8 a.m. and we have to get there at 7:45. So I'm gonna be tired. I need to review like my clock positions a little bit better. I can figure it out, but I would rather be more like spot on, like knowing for sure, like, okay, this surface is at 12 o'clock, like for sure, you know what I mean? I'm good with finding out what ends of the instruments to use, which instruments to use, and everything like that. Like that's totally fine. I know what type of motion you should do based on what surfaces you're doing and stuff like that. It's just 100% getting down the clock positions, which at the same time, I think that they are not super strict with that because they want us to, as long as we can do everything properly, I don't think they're really gonna care if I'm at 10, if it should be at 9, because a lot of times I do need to be at 10 whenever I'm at 9 because it's just easier for me and how my body is shaped and things like that. So that is pretty much it for this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. I'm trying not to abandon you guys even though everything is getting super crazy. So if you have any questions or any comments, definitely leave them down below. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next one very, very, very soon.